Hello everyone and welcome back to another OPTC Cruise video. Today we're going through the OPTC Girls Treasure Map Sugarfest batch, debuting Legend Rebecca, the first of her kind in the game. Now this character, I'm going to go through her regular stuff and also her rumble abilities. She's actually a very interesting character. Her design philosophy is quite good in my opinion. I do think we should give her flowers. She's a very good character in my opinion. But of course we'll go through that in the video. I actually haven't seen what the rare recruits do, but hopefully the Viola is great in Rumble as well, because this character really needs royalty characters, Dressrosa Kingdom characters, and kind of the only option for Dressrosa Kingdom tag is the new rare recruit Viola. So hopefully she's good, but either way we'll go through that after Rebecca. So Rebecca's a quick fighter and free spirit character. Her captain ability is going to give you 2 turns of cooldown, 2 switch effect gauge charges, and then also gives you a recovery and HP boost of 1.3x. Recovery boost, that's not very common. And then she's going to make quick recovery and tandem counters matching and completely remove her own special rewind. So that's an incredibly powerful captain so far. Good multipliers, she's universal. And she's also boosting HP recovery by 1.3x, making natural orbs beneficial. And of course, she does remove special, she reduces special charge time in her special. So it's good that she has that resilience in her captain ability against special rewind. Then we have a 1.1x attack boost for Dressrosa Kingdom and royalty tag characters. So that gets them up to about a 6.05x, I think. So that's pretty good in my opinion. Of course, 5.5x is good enough even if you don't have those tags, but there are quite a few good royalty characters that we do already have in the game. And then if you have 3 or more Dressrosa Kingdom or royalty tag characters on the crew and you use an attack boost or orb boost, then it will get extended by a turn. So that is quite the restriction. She's very similar to the Nami and Vivi. No, the Kujaku we just got. Who also extends attack and orb boost in a captain. But I think this character is much better. Yes, it is more restrictive because you need those tags. But besides that, her captain ability is much more better than Kujaku's because she's giving cooldowns, charging your switch effect gauge. She has good multipliers, giving you matching orbs as well. So I do think this character is very usable as a captain. Then her special maxing out at 16 turns off the expansion, so it's going to be 17 turns without. And the fact that her special is mainly focused on reducing other characters' cooldowns, it doesn't really make sense that it takes so long to charge her special. So it's kind of stupid in my opinion, but it's fine. If you have 3 or more Dressrosa Kingdom or royalty tag characters on the crew, so similar to the captain ability, then the attack boost and base attack boost that you can get in the special later on will be universal, just like her captain. But if you don't have those tags, then she stops really being a universal character because her attack and base attack boost will be restricted to fighter and free spirit classes. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. If she herself is the captain or friend captain, she's going to reduce the bottom right character's special charge time by 5 turns. If she is the crewmate, she'll reduce your captain's cooldown by 5 turns. And then she'll go on to say that she'll reduce barriers by 3 turns. One of the only characters in the game to reduce barriers by 3 turns. There's not many characters that reduces it by that many. A few characters off the top of my head, I think, are the Robin and Koala Legend. We also have Treasure Map free-to-play unit X Drake, but he's a terrible character otherwise, so you don't even really use him. This is great, excellent utility, and then also a 95% damage reduction for a turn. So any type of death hit, you will be able to take. Then if you have 3 or more Dressrosa Kingdom or royalty tags on the crew, reduces enemies intimidation. First unit in the game to do this, to reduce enemy intimidation with a special. This is the debuff that reduces turn duration and the multipliers of your buffs. It's very common nowadays, so this is incredible. And 2 turns as well. It's incredibly useful because most of the time enemies intimidation isn't really that many turns, so she should be enough. And in the worst case scenario, you can run double Rebecca and get 4 turns of intimidation. And there is point in running double Rebecca because you get both a base attack boost and an attack boost. The first activation, you'll get an attack boost of 2.75x for 2 turns. If you already have an attack boost, then you get a 1750 base attack boost. This is for fighter and free spirits, of course, but as the special stated, if you have those tags, which I mean, honestly, there's no real point in running Rebecca if you don't have those tags. So in most of the scenarios you're using Rebecca, you are getting this with an increased multiplier for the attack boost and it being universal. You get it up increased by 0.5 if you have those tags. So it'll be a 3.25x attack boost for 2 turns. So this is great. It will last for a revive since it's 2 turns. It could also be extended by 1 turn with a captain ability to make it last over multiple stages. Unfortunately, she doesn't extend base attack boost in a captain ability, so there's no way for you to extend that base attack boost, which is a bit strange. It would have made more sense if she gave an orb boost instead of a base attack boost there, but it's fine. It's still really powerful. So I think this special is just so good. It's very unique. Like, this is an irreplaceable character. I mean, we saw how strong Kuma was when he can reduce your captains and his own cooldown with his X super. Of course, this is way more watered down, but 5 turns is still a lot. Like, if you use a character special very early on in the quest, you get a lot of cooldown from just moving through stages. And then if you use this special on top of that, and maybe a support character to reduce a character's cooldown, they can have this special ready again. But there's also characters like Cross Guild, or like the whatchamacallit, or the Memories Straw Hats characters like Memories Robin, Memories Frankie, all these characters, they reduce their own cooldown by like 12 turns in their super type, but they themselves are like 15 turn cooldown characters. So you need that last bit of a push, and this character would be perfect in those cases. And remember, she is a treasure map legend, so she's going to be boosted in every treasure map going forward. So you could use this character, for instance, with Memories Frankie. I don't think they really synergize well. I don't think Frankie's a free spirit, but either way, just an example of how good this ability can be. But yeah, as I said, characters like Cross Guild could also work incredibly with this unit. And you do have the control over who you want to give cooldown to. It makes it much more skillful as to which character you are going to put in that bottom right slot, who is going to get cooldown. So very, very cool. As I said, intimidation and the barrier reduction is incredibly powerful utility, unique to this character, and also some good damage. So I think overall it's a powerful special. The only thing that's lacking is a bit of orb manipulation, but she does do that in her super type, so that kind of makes up for it. So when you have 3 Dressrosa Kingdom or royalty tags on the crew, she doesn't have to be captain, she can be a sailor to activate this. It will heal you by 10k HP, give you a full board of matching orbs not through block, and then buff existing attack, orb boosts, and chain additive buffs by 0.4. And of course gives your quick units super type. Now, I think the effect is quite weak for how difficult it is to get to the tag requirement. But as I said in the previous, when I was talking about the captain, you aren't going to be using Rebecca if you're not having this tag requirement anyways. So I think it's a powerful ability just to have there. Decent orb manipulation. Sometimes all you need is a full board of orbs, even if it's not through block. And those are very powerful enhancement buffs for attack orbs and chain additive buffs. So the healing's a bit underwhelming. If it was 20k and maybe did overheal a bit, then that would have been a much better. But I think overall this kit is super, super solid. We don't have many characters in the game. The only other captain in the game that gives you an extension of both attack and orb boost is going to be the Rumble Kujaku. So incredible captain ability, not only for just giving you so much utility, attack boost, HP boost, recovery boost. We have natural orbs beneficial. She gives cooldown and switch effect gauge charge, but she also has incredible utility with that extension buffs. Attack requirement is bad, but we have a lot of good royalty characters, and you could run this character as a friend captain, as one of your subs, or even as your captain. You could run either V1 or V2, Vivi and Rebecca, and then you just have to find one other royalty character to fill in the gap. You could use the recent PKA Reiju, she also works. There's a lot of different options here, and I don't think it's that difficult to reach this requirement. And when you do, her special is one of a kind. Incredible cooldown reduction, very strong buffs, one of a kind utility. I just think this character has incredible potential. But when talking about a support effect, which is also amazing, She gives 2 turns of cooldown to the supported character and a 40% damage reduction on the final stage. One of the best damage reduction supports in the game, and you also get 2 turns of cooldown, which not a lot of supports do. It is only to Dressrosa Kingdom and royalty tags, but they could have just done this and put their Viola and what's her dad's name? And Kiros. They could have just put their only supports Reiju, Viola and Kiros, and it could have been a terrible support character. But it supports all royalty characters, which is great. The Dressrosa Kingdom one doesn't really matter because like the only characters in the game that have the Dressrosa Kingdom tag are Rebecca characters. So you can't support a Rebecca on a Rebecca. That doesn't make sense. The only other character you could use is the new Viola rare recruit. So that's kind of irrelevant, but there's a ton of good royalty characters, right? So I think that's an excellent support character, will be used a lot for that as well. But what about her Rumble stuff, right? So I think she definitely is going to have a place in Rumble. You have to remember though, she is a treasure map legend. She's not a Rumble legend. She's going to have a 55 cost. So it's going to be essentially impossible for you to run her as a replacement for like a Rumble character, for instance. Yes, she is a cooldown reducer, but you can't replace Caesar on the quick team because she's not 55. She's not 20 cost. She's a high cost character. So the only way to run her as a replacement for a Rumble character would be if you like toss the bench. You can only run one Rumble character on your bench, which you don't want to do with Rebecca because the bench is incredibly important for what she needs. So I think that's a bit of a paradox, but I still think she'll have a good place on some teams as a replacement for some 55 cost characters. So she's going to target Quick Type and Free Spirit class teammates for attack up of level 7 for 20 seconds, speed up of level 7 for 20 seconds, and defense up of level 7 for 20 seconds. If you have 4 more Stride Pirates, Dressrosa Arc, or royalty characters on the team, not including self, they will get a 20% CT reduction for Quick and Free Spirit characters. Then she will target those tags, Stride Pirates, Royalty, and Dressrosa Arc teammates for special CT 10% reduction. So for her Rumble stuff, they kind of expanded it to not just Dressrosa Kingdom, but the whole Dressrosa Arc. Now, recently we got the Kizuna legend of the Don Quixote family with Dofi, Treble, etc. That character is great on the quick team, so this is an excellent support for that character. We also have units like Quick Gear 5, who's still incredible on the Rumble team, the Quick Rumble team as a DPS unit. So, of course, Straw Hat Pirates getting buffed is incredible. But you have to remember, we need 4 or more Straw Hat Pirates, Dressrosa Arc, or Royalty tag characters. She herself is number 1. You could run the Don Quixote family as number 2. Quick Gear 5 as number 3. And then you need to run at least one other character on your bench who is a decent Quick Free Spirit or one of these tags. And then they will fill the final tag requirement. A good example could be the recent PKA Reiju. She's actually not a bad Pirate Rumble character. She's a 20 cost character, so the same cost as a Rumble unit. But even in a 5-star form, she seems quite usable as a bench unit for Quick and Free Spirit teams. So when she gets a Super Evolution, she usually will get a massive buff. That's the recent trend I've noticed with Rumble. I mean, the free-to-play PKA characters, they get massive Rumble buffs with their Super Evolutions. A good example is the Kid from a few months ago. He got damage ignoring defense with his Super Evolution. So I expect Reiju to also get a massive buff. I think we actually have a detail, so I could check that out in a moment. But she could be an optional unit to use on the team. She's, of course, royalty tag. You could run her at the back of your bench, just someone there. Another good example could be someone like this guy, this Corazon Power Rumble recruit. I don't really use him a lot since he's not the greatest character. He's only really good against strength teams, but he's definitely an optional bench unit with Rebecca. He is, of course, Dressrosa Arc. So this character is an option. Who else could be used? Any Quick Free Spirit or a Straw Hat tag character could work. You could use this Frankie, but he's not really that good. I mean, any kind of Straw Hat character that could go on the bench as a 20 cost unit could work. Just someone to fulfill the tag requirement. But you could just run Corazon. Don Quixote family, quick gear 5, and then Rebecca herself to meet that tag requirement, just as a colorful example. But I think her special definitely has potential. I mean, we have 30% CT reduction, and then we also look at her passive ability and when she appears on the field. So that either means at the start of the battle, if she's on the main lineup, it will take into effect as soon as the battle starts. If she's a bench character, as soon as she gets into the main lineup, she will activate the 10% CT reduction to those tags. So for those tags, she's giving 40% CT reduction. And remember, she's a 20 CT unit, so she's going to activate incredibly quick. Unfortunately, she does only have resistance to special bind, so things like confusion, force out, anything like that, the more prevalent debuffs today, she will still be affected by. So that's, I think, one of the biggest problems with her, is that she doesn't have very good resistance. But that's fine. I think this character is definitely going to see play on the regular quick team. Not quick driven, we have Caesar, but on the regular quick team, we don't have a lot of CT reducers. So I think Rebecca definitely will have a place on some teams. But what about Viola? She's, of course, debuting alongside Mancherry as the rare recruits. I'll go through these quickly. So Viola, I mean, I'm mostly interested in a support effect. Most rare recruit nowadays, mainly only relevant as support characters. I mean, they've really been giving these characters incredible supports lately. Once per quest, if inflicted with remove SFX, this is incredibly rare. The only other characters that from my knowledge that do this is Rare Recruit Lafitte and Rare Recruit Psychobi. Those two characters get around remove SFX, but so many times I need another character to reduce this as a support. So once per quest, blindness reduced by 3 turns when inflicted, and then gives a 1.3x color affinity for free spirit. Another incredible utility, or damage buff should I say, for free spirit characters. Yeah, incredible color affinity. We don't have a lot of good color affinity supports in the game that are 1.3x, and most of them only activate on the final stage, so at least you have a bit more control over this, because a lot of the time you get blindness on stage 3 or 4, and then you get an extra color affinity boost there. So I think that's really nice. Supporting all royalty characters and Dressrosa Kingdom, so legends like Vivi and Rebecca, V1 and V2 will both benefit from the support, so that's pretty cool. Her special will display all enemy status effects. This is nothing new. All Viola characters in the game have this effect. It just allows you to tap on the enemy and see like all their details, like their stats, I think attack, HP, etc. What they are going to do after one turn. So it's a pretty interesting status effect. I think it goes through all immunities, but it doesn't really help you in terms of actually beating the quest. Is more so if you are someone who's like writing down the gimmicks and you want to see what the enemy's gonna do next. They shall also remove blindness by 6 turns in her special. If you have advantageous class effect buff when the special is launched, gives you a 2.5x quick color affinity for 2 turns. Otherwise, a 1.5x advantageous class effect buff for free spirit and slashy units by 2 turns. Then will increase chain locks and chain boundaries by 0.25. If you have 3 or more Dressrosa Kingdom or Royalty tag characters, gives you a chain growth rate buff of up to 0.6, which is double the original chain growth rate. So I think this unit's definitely lacking. I mean, the 1.5x advantageous class effect buff is quite rare, but the multiplier isn't very good. It is to free spirit and slasher class units, so for instance, if the enemy is weak to strikers, but you have a striker free spirit character, this advantageous class effect buff would still work because they are a free spirit character. So any free spirit character will get access to an enhanced effect of the advantageous class. So even if it isn't the direct class, so if the enemy is weak to strikers, but you have a free spirit striker character, this will still buff it. Just so you guys understand how that works. 1.5x is still quite weak though. And she doesn't really have much utility. The only thing she has is blindness reduction. So, and the color affinity is only for quick characters. It would have been nice if it was for quick free spirit slasher, not just quick. It's very odd how the advantageous class buff is for 2 classes, but her color affinity is for 1 type. It's just, there's no consistency here. The chain lock or chain boundary buff is also not that significant. The chain growth rate buff is nice. Oh, wait, I didn't see this. Oh my days, what? Okay, so if you meet the tag requirement, you don't just get the chain growth rate buff, you also get a enemy damage reduction. What do I even call this? Utility. She reduces the enemy's damage reduction potency by 80%. So if the enemy has a 95% damage reduction, it'll go down to a 15% damage reduction, which is basically negligible. So it's pretty good. There we go, some utility besides just the blindness. And then if you have 3 or more Dressrosa Kingdom or royalty tag characters, why did they have to say it twice? It's literally just the exact same requirement. Okay. If you have 3 or more Dressrosa Kingdom royalty tags on the crew, and you've healed 20,000 or more above your max HP, so that doesn't mean you need overheal. It just means, like, even if you have full HP and you heal, and it doesn't go to the overheal, the game still counts it as you healing 20,000 above your max HP. Why is it 20,000 though? Rebecca only heals 10,000 with her super type. Very, very strange. It will extend the advantageous class effect buff or color affinity from the special or existing color affinity, and advantageous class effect buffs could also work. So it doesn't just mean her buffs that she provides, but this will make it so that you have those buffs for 3 turns, which is pretty nice. But why do you need 20k healing? There's way too many like hoops that you have to jump through for this character to actually work. I just don't think this character is good. Unfortunately, as a support, great, but not really for her special. Cool sailor abilities though. Free Spirit character's base attack by 1.1x when captain is Free Spirit. That's really powerful. But overall, I wouldn't say the unit's too good. What about her Rumble stuff? Does she have Rumble abilities to go well with Vivi or Rebecca? Nope, absolutely nothing. Missed opportunity. What about Mancheri? Also nothing. Cerebral Free Spirits, quick. She also has Tontata Kingdom and Tontata, and then also Royalty Tag. If you get Burn or Pain, she's a Pain Reducer. As a support, this is the first in the game. Wow, okay. And 2k healing. Okay, that's pretty usable. I'll take that. That's pretty nice. Her special, 20 times healing, 6 turns of burn and pain reduction. Wow, okay. This immediately is so much more usable. Burn has become much more prevalent because they've really just been using instant burning quests, which has like 30k per perfect. So burn is actually becoming something you can't just ignore. So it's excellent that we have that reduction and pain as well. So you're not going to die with this character. She's going to heal your HP. She's going to remove burn and pain so you won't take any more damage. Then a 3-turn chain boundary of minimum 2.5x. That is powerful. It's going to last multiple stages. No condition. Perfect. Like this could literally, the special could end right here and it would still be better than Viola's, in my opinion. If you have 3 or more Tontata Kingdom, Tontata or royalty tag characters on the crew, then after 1 turn, she will delay the enemy through all types of immunities and also apply weakness. If enemy has what? Okay, she also goes through all immunities for her weakness. That is so good, bro. Wait. Okay, so there's a very key distinction here. Her delay goes through all types of immunities. General immunity, specific immunities, and also immunity excluding certain status effects. But her weakened status only goes through regular immunity. So if the enemy is weak to immune to specifically weakness, then this will not work. If the enemy is immune to every status effect except, for instance, defense down, this will also not work. But that's still like one of the only characters in the game to inflict weakness through immunity, even if it's not all types. Like, this is really good. Okay, so she's gonna proc conditional boosts for both delay and also weakened status, and she's giving a chain boundary. So good damage, good healing, good utility. Yeah, just in general, great character. I think this character is much more usable than Viola. Tontata Kingdom, I don't think this has any support, but Royalty once again has a lot of support, so you could definitely use this character with the new Rebecca as a friend captain and get incredible usage out of it. Sailor abilities are but what if, but that's fine. She also has hunger reduction with her potential ability. So overall, I think, yeah, Mancha is great. Rebecca's great. Not Vivi, Viola is a bit of a miss. But what are your thoughts? Tell me that below. Do you think this character is going to go well on a quick team in Powder Rumble? And do you think she has a pretty cool design philosophy? Overall, I'd say she's pretty good. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.